Good evening and welcome back to the Fire Burns Within channel. Time for a discography ranking video. I haven't done one of these for a long time. Just had no urgency or need or will, or I don't know what you want to call it, for a discography ranking. But I don't know, I just thought let me do this one. Morbid Angel discography ranking. Now, I am a big fan of Morbid Angels. I've seen them live a lot. I mean, it must be over 5 times easily. I've seen them a lot, especially in the early days. I saw them quite a lot in the 90s and early 2000s. Not so much in recent years. You could say I've slightly gone off Morbid Angel, but I always hold out hope for something good from Morbid Angel. I always find them unique. I find them, just the quality of the band is interesting to me. The way they riff, Trey, the way Trey riffs, his solos, his wacky nutcase solos, just interesting. So anyway, I thought I'd do this discography ranking. So let me just get on with it. They've got 9 studio albums which I'm going to rank. They've got some compilations and some live albums and some demo albums. I'm not going to rank those. These are 9 studio albums which I'm going to rank from worst to best, in my opinion. So let's start with number 9. You don't need to have any big think about what's going to rank in last place. It's, of course, Illud Divinum Insanus, released in 2011. This album was a huge failure. I mean, you know, it's got moments of classic Morbid Angel, which I quite like, and then it's got these horrible industrial attempts at industrial metal, which are just horrible sounding. I mean, literally cannot play. I mean, I've tried. I even did a 10-year anniversary ranking video for this, because it had its 10th anniversary in 2021. It was released in 2011, so I did a ranking and I had to re-listen, and I swear some of those songs were just the weird shit going on. It was hard to get through. There's some good moments on the album. There's 4 songs which I like, but it's still not enough to move it from bottom place. In 8th place, we've got the most recent album from 2017, Kingdoms Disdained. This was featuring the returning Steve Tucker on vocals. Yeah, this album was a disappointment. It's got some okayish riffs. The production is typically Morbid Angelish. It's sort of dense, murky, but the songwriting is flat. It's uninteresting for the most part. It never captures the old school Morbid Angel glories. It really never, I don't know, maybe I didn't give it enough of a chance, but it never really got going, never got under my skin, never made me want to do replay the songs. So it's sitting in next to last place. It can't be worse than Illud Divinum Insanus, but it's not a good record, it has to be said. Okay, in 7th place, I'm going to catch some flack for this from the Morbid Angel fans, but this album gets a lot of praise, and it's good, but for me it's a little bit overrated, and it's the Gateways to Annihilation album. I just feel the album is a little bit overrated. The production is really good on it, but the riffs sound a little bit boring. I don't know. It's like they lacked a little bit of inspiration on the riffs. Trey, there's some good moments, you know. It pleases the Morbid Angel fans. It's got what they want, but personally, I always find this album slightly boring. In next place, in sixth place, we've got the album Heretic from 2003. This album is quite good. I think it's a touch underrated, if anything. A lot of Morbid Angel fans complain about the production on this one, and it is sort of a little thin. It's a little sort of, I don't know, there's a lot of guitars, but it's quite harsh sounding. It's not got much sort of a low end or bass sound to it, as I remember. There's some good songs on it though. There's some cool grooves. I always enjoy the Morbid Angel grooves and the slower Morbid Angel songs. And Heretic, it's got some good songs. I mean, it's not the world's best, obviously, death metal album, but it's a good album. It's a solid album for me. It's not bad. And the top five is like godly. Every album in the top 5 is, I'd say, minimum 8.5 and upwards. So the lowest album is 8.5 out of 10, which was the one in 5th place, and then slowly we go upwards up to higher rankings. I'm not going to talk about rankings, but I'm just giving you a guide as to how I feel about them. So in 5th place we've got Covenant from 1993. Yeah, this is a very good album. It's got some great songs, catchy songs. Rapture, I love that song. What else? There's so many cool songs. Angel of Disease, is that on this one? I've forgotten. I haven't written the song titles down. But there's some great songs. Sworn to the Black, that is such an awesome song. Just solid songs. I mean, I was toying with the idea of putting this a little bit higher, maybe in 4th place, between the album in 4th and Covenant, but I went with Covenant in 5th place. The production could be a little bit better, maybe. That's why I dropped it into 5th, but I really do like Covenant a lot. It's very evil. David Vincent, he sounds in his best demonic voice. I think it's a really good album. Okay, in 4th place we've got Formula's Fatal to the Flesh, released in 1998. This is the first album featuring Steve Tucker on vocals. He does a great job. You know, David Vincent was out of the band. He fell out with Trey, and he left. Formula's Fatal to the Flesh was released, and it was classic Morbid Angel. I mean, it's sort of a little bit more old school. The production is really nice and thick, but it's not harsh sounding. It's clean. The vocals are really good. Even Trey does some vocals on this. There's some really cool, catchy songwriting. Just solid all the way through. You know, there's no filler. There's a lot of just solid, classic Morbid Angel style tracks. And the final track on the album is called Invocations of the Continual One. I really love that track. That's like one of the best Morbid Angel tracks of all time. It's an absolute epic monster of a track. So Formula's Fatal to the Flesh is it's definitely one of my favorite Morbid Angel albums. I think quite a few people may have this slightly lower in their list, but I really like this one. Okay, the top 3, all godly albums in my opinion. In 3rd place, I'm going to place the one that most people would probably place top. It's the debut album, Altars of Madness. Yeah, this is a great album, no doubt about it. Great riffs, very fast, more slight black metalish flavour here and there, which they don't really have on the future releases. Not really black metal, but it's sort of slightly darkened death metal, if you like. But there's some awesome riffs, and the speed is at the maximum. Like, some of the speed in some of the songs is the fastest that you will ever see from a Morbid Angel album. David Vincent, he sounds very, very ghoulish. He's sort of not as guttural, maybe. He's sort of raspier. That's the blackish tone, if you like. The songs are super catchy, amazing songs. You know, it's lots of cool riffs, crazy random solos. Just a very, very good debut death metal album. But maybe it's a touch overrated by some. You know, it's seen as some godly, amazing thing, and it is. But I don't know. The other two albums for me are slightly better, and obviously they're slightly controversial picks for, you know, the regular Morbid Angel fans. So we're left with the top two. If I give you my second, you should know what the number one is. So in second place, we've got 1995's Domination. Domination is the first Morbid Angel album I ever heard. I was just getting into death metal in around 95, and I heard this album because it was getting quite a lot of press in the UK at that time. It was like a big thing. You know, David Vincent was doing lots of interviews for this, and it was all in terror. I remember buying Terrorizer magazine and all those mags, and Morbid Angel was getting quite a lot of press for this. You know, they were saying like this is a big record and all that. And when I first heard it, I was like, wow, this is literally the most brutal thing I've ever heard in my life. At that point, you know, it was very fast at times, very dark, very murky, very heavy, but it was also very catchy. Like the grooves, the melodies in the riffs, it was quite well structured. It wasn't like total chaos like, say, some parts of Altars of Madness can be fairly chaotic, but Domination is quite well structured. It's sort of quite well song based, and I always gravitate more towards a more structured, a more song based kind of death metal with groove, a little bit of melody, you know, good catchy vocals. Like David Vincent, he always said he always tried to make the vocals as sort of brutal as he can, but still make them understandable. He's not doing like Cookie Monster, he's just doing a, you know, rough gravelly voice. I really like the songs on this album. What can I say? It gets a lot of mixed reactions from Morbid Angel fans. A lot of fans don't really like Domination, and a lot of people do as well. I'm in the definite like camp. I mean, I always love this album. There's issues with the lyrical content on this album. Of course, I think David Vincent, he was ousted by Trey because of the lyrics. Some of the lyrics are sort of moving away from the occult and talking about real time, real day things, and away from the, you know, the main focus of Trey. He was always about the, you know, the Sumerian myths, the occult, and so on, and not earthly things, but, you know, slightly supernatural things, mystical, satanical, things like that. And this album almost strips away all of that. It's talking about some realistic things and power and, you know, supremacy and being powerful and things like that. So I think lyrically it was moving away from what Trey wanted, so David Vincent was out. But musically, I really like this album. Like I said, it's the groove, the riffs, the power, the aggression is right, maximum heavy aggression at times. But it's still catchy as well. It's still very sort of, it's almost melodic at times. So it's still groovy and catchy. But it's not my number one album from Morbid Angel. There's only one album left. It's the second album released in 1991. It's Blessed Are the Sick. This is just an awesome album. I mean, the debut was like a very sort of chaotic, energetic, crazy death metal album with dark tones, but Blessed Are the Sick is more sort of it's still crazy fast, but it's a little bit more streamlined. The attack is like a little bit more death metal. It's like the instrumentation is a little bit more precise. It's not as crazy. The riffs are like interesting, groovy, very catchy at times. Like the catchiness in the riffs, like it's almost hummable, you know. It's just very catchy song after song. It's aggressive, it's short, it's like very precise, it's to the point, there's no fat on it at all. The drumming from Commander Sandoval is top notch. He's like a hammering jackhammer metronome. He's like rock solid. The riffs are mental, the solos are just crazy, but there's groove, there's like there's even a little acoustic bit in the song Desolate Ways with Richard Brunel, who's passed away now, who wrote that song. That's a really cool break. I mean, it's a really sort of haunting melodic break, and then it goes back into the classic Morbid Angel style. So Blessed of the Sick has always been my favorite. When I heard it, it stays my favorite Morbid Angel album. It's a crazy death metal album. That's my number one Morbid Angel pick. Okay, hope you enjoyed this discography run through. Stay tuned as always.